as we are live, our quintuple broadcast, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and IG Live. Welcome in, everybody, on A to Z Sports. Austin and Zach talking Titans this morning and assessing Mike Vrabel's contract situation, because yesterday the San Francisco 49ers gave young Kyle Shanahan a 6-year contract extension that makes Kyle Shanahan a top 5 paid coach in the NFL. So we'll discuss what Mike Vrabel needs to accomplish to deserve and earn a contract extension of his own. We'll talk about those situations and compare the two coaches. One fell one game short of the Super Bowl. One fell one half short of winning the Super Bowl. So we'll discuss that. Then, in honor of Zach's playoff debut in NFL Blitz later on today, we'll discuss the best and worst games in Titans playoff history. And then A to Z Sports screen time research. Our guy G-Man on base did a good job of setting the over-under for the screen time for both myself and Zach for how many hours we spend on our phones on average per day. So that's going to be fun and embarrassing at the same time. Zach, welcome in. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. Excited about today's show. Talking a little Titans, talking a little coaching salaries, which going back and looking what the NFL coaches make, it's kind of sneaky. They don't really tell you. So we're going to dive right into it. Get your opinion on Mike Vrabel. Aloha, Christy out there in Hawaii. We've got a plethora of different people that watch our show from all over the country. We thank you for watching. And cannot forget, the playoffs have officially started, baby. We are in a number 2 seed, ready to play the Jets a little bit later this afternoon. That will be at 1 o'clock. If you've been watching my journey, dropped a little treat. Blitz montage in your timeline on A to Z Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Before we get going on today's show, bottom right corner of your screen, if you're watching on Periscope/Twitter, you'll see those 3 little dots. Tap that bad boy and retweet the broadcast. We need to pop up in your Twitter followers' timeline. That's where we need to be. That would help us out a great deal. Also, bottom left corner of your screen, if you're watching on Facebook, what's going on, Facebookers? We welcome you guys in. More people will pile in on all these platforms over the next 5 to 10 minutes. And look, we are going to rock and roll today. Facebook, we got to pop up in your Facebook friends' news feed. YouTube, make sure that you like, you comment. Twitch, IG, we got you covered. And we are about to get rocking and rolling live on a Tuesday as we roll through this week.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports, powered by TennesseeTickets.com. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you like us on Twitter at A to Z Sports, Instagram A to Z Sports, Facebook A to Z Sports Nashville. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. We got to thank our sponsors because they make everything happen for our show, for our business, and for you guys. TennesseeTickets.com. If you want Titans tickets, do this. TennesseeTickets.com, promo code Titans20. There's $20 off your purchase, and you do get all of your money back if fans are not allowed at the games. TennesseeTickets.com. Renters Warehouse, the professional landlords in the Nashville area. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. Also, Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout at Mandu, a full-body electronic muscle stimulation. That 15 minutes simulates 5+ hours in the weight room. Your first workout is absolutely free at mandu.com. Tucker Agency, Nashville's independent insurance agency, giving you relief by saving you an average of 20% on your personal insurance. TuckerTN.com is where to go for them. And if you're looking for new floors, new hardwood floors, new finishings, CalvinandSuttle.com for your servicing, Middle Tennessee. CalvinandSuttle.com is where to go. And Zach, we're talking today about Mike Vrabel because the San Francisco 49ers give a 6-year contract extension to head coach Kyle Shanahan months after falling just short to Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. 6-year deal. Kyle Shanahan just finished his 3rd season as Niners head coach, 3rd season overall as a head coach in the NFL. And he gets a big contract extension, which makes him a top 5 paid head coach. What was your reaction to hearing that report yesterday before we get into Mike Vrabel?
Well, I mean, strategy, right? San Francisco, they flipped their entire franchise with the Jimmy Garoppolo trade, with all of the defensive players they've taken at the top of the draft. With the running game, they've done a great job of Kyle going the throwback of his old dad, running back by committee. It worked very, very well. They were top. I think they were the second best rushing team in the league altogether. The Titans were up there along with the Baltimore Ravens. But yeah, you have to understand why they did this. You better pay him now because you're going to have to pay him later. He's not going to go anywhere, right? He's a young head coach. You might as well nail him down for the next several years, pay him his due because these contracts keep coming up. I'll just give you an example. Bill Belichick, the NFL coaching salaries that I saw on CBSSports.com, Bill Belichick is number one with $12 million a year. Pete Carroll is at number two with $11 million a year. John Gruden, $10 million a year at number three. Sean Payton at 9.8 at number four. John Harbaugh of the Ravens, who's been there for some time, is $9 million. So that tells us exactly how much Kyle Shanahan's making. If he's a top five paid head coach, he's making somewhere around $9 million. Then you have Matt Rule of Carolina, 8.5. Sean McVay at 8.5 out there in LA. And then Mike Tomlin, Dan Quinn, and Andy Reid all make $8 million a year to kind of close out that top 10. They paid him now, so they don't have to pay him more later.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with Kyle Shanahan is this is the second 6-year contract that he signed with the 49ers. And Guy asked the question, the coach does not count against the salary cap, correct? Yes, that is right. The coaching staff does not count against the salary cap for the team. That's just the rosters. The coaching money comes from the owners. So, which so does the salary cap. But anyway, so Kyle Shanahan had 3 years left on this first deal that he signed with the Niners. Mike Vrabel has 3 years left on his 5-year deal that he signed over 2 years ago with the Tennessee Titans. So really, when you look at the comparison, the head-to-head overall, when it comes to Kyle Shanahan and Mike Vrabel, Mike Vrabel has a better regular season record over 2 years than Kyle Shanahan's 3-year regular season record. Now, Shanahan had a rough start. No, look,
throw that out.
Hold on, dude. Don't jump the gun on this. Don't just cut me off midpoint because I'm adding some context.
It's worth showing.
Yes, I do think so because I think it's worth showing what Mike Vrabel has done. They're both 2-1 in the playoffs. That one for Kyle Shanahan came in the Super Bowl where Mike Vrabel came up just a half game short of that. But look, the 49ers were in a complete rebuild mode, and without Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners lose. With Jimmy Garoppolo the last 3 years, the 49ers regularly win, and Mike Vrabel took over for a playoff team, and he has been able to get into the playoffs, and we know what Week 17 was for that first season for Mike Vrabel. If Marcus Mariota would have played in that game, and maybe they could have made it to the playoffs both times. But I do think it's interesting to ask this question because Mike Vrabel.
You didn't explain why you put that graphic up when we all know how the teams were when they got taken over.
Zach, I said Kyle Shanahan. You just weren't listening to me. I said Kyle Shanahan took over a rebuilding franchise and Mike Vrabel took over a playoff team. I literally said that. I guess you just ignored it so you can make your point.
It wasn't a rebuilding franchise. They were like
was.
2-14. They were awful.
It was a rebuilding franchise.
They were at the bottom of the barrel. That's why I say Mike Vrabel took over a playoff team. Those records don't matter. That graphic doesn't matter. Like it doesn't make any sense because Mike Vrabel was put in. Not many head coaches, right? We tried to think of that when it happened. When they fired Mike Mularkey after they went to the playoffs, we tried to think about how many playoff coaches actually get canned, right? Jimmy Johnson got fired after a Super Bowl because of the headbutting with Jerry Jones, but it's like that record doesn't matter.
Zach, you're like, good Lord. I mean, come on. Give me a freaking break. I've explained what I did.
You don't deserve a break. It doesn't.
No, you're putting words in my mouth. I'm not comparing what I think they're both comparable.
What the hell is this if you're not comparing? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm just showing the facts, and you're derailing the show and not listening to what I'm saying. Kyle Shanahan took over a bad team. They started 0-9 in his first season. Then they trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo won the last 5 games of that year. In year 2, they were about to change things up. Jimmy G tears his ACL in like week 2, and they go 3-13. And I could argue because Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL in week 2, then they got Nick Bosa, who was a game changer on the defensive line, to go along with the other first-round draft picks on the defensive line. And they were able to have a great defense, a great running game with enough passing offense, and they were able to make the Super Bowl. So they needed those couple of bad years to get to where they are now. And so I think Kyle Shanahan has done a fantastic job, and now he's been rewarded as a top 5 paid head coach.
So what's more impressive?
What's more impressive? I wasn't setting it up to show who was more impressive.
You that.
Well, I think they're both equally impressive, honestly, because the quarterback is everything, right?
You riding the fence? Which one is more impressive?
Actually, you know what? I'll say Mike Vrabel's is more impressive because Mike Vrabel went 9-7 with a very injured Marcus Mariota in his first year as a head coach, where Kyle Shanahan, it took him till week 10 to get his first win, when Mike Vrabel got his first win as a head coach with a quarterback who could not feel his arm because his backup Blaine Gabbert got concussed in the first half, and he was able to win that game in Jacksonville.
My team was always the Jets. Vinny Testaverde. You have Keyshawn Johnson on that team. You've got Curtis, my favorite, Martin.
Wayne Corbett. Yeah, I was about to say.
Corbett's on there. So this is tough. Look, take a look at the playoff schedule. Today at 1, the Broncos, the best team in the NFL. They host the Broncos. I host the Jets. And then on the other side, have some old foes. I've played the Rams and the 49ers. I lost to the 49ers. And then Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers, they're the best team in the NFC. So we're going through this. I've enjoyed it. I think a lot of other people have. People reached out on Twitter yesterday saying, do people even watch that? Well, yes. Thousands of people actually watch this.
All right. So in honor of your playoff opener as a head coach, we're going to ask, what is the best Titans playoff win in team history? What is the best Titans playoff win in team history? We're doing the best and worst today, brought to you by the Tucker Agency, tuckertn.com, to save an average of 20% off of your personal insurance. Ray says he watches it. So, Zach, I'll let you start. What is the best Titans playoff win in team history, in your opinion?
I'm torn between two. And they're one's random. I guess they're not random because they're playoff games. But I'm torn between two. I think it's either ending Tom Brady's career as a New England Patriot, right? I mean, that got to be God. That wins. That's mine. That's now, I haven't even talked through my second game.
Is that not recency bias, though?
Well, my other one is not recent at all. But I would. It's so tough because what if? And I don't know what he did with the Bucs. So. Maybe you brought that to my attention of the recency. If he goes and wins a Super Bowl with the Bucs, which God hope I do, I wish that happens. Maybe that doesn't seem as bad, right? Because it was a bad team. And he was just like, well, it wasn't as good as his Patriots team. That's why I moved on. Wanted to fire them cannons down in Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians, Mike Evans, Cameron Bray, Chris Godwin.
Okay.
But my other one, I think there's no recency bias because it happened in 1999. It's the AFC Championship game against the Jags. That's the best Titans win in team history because they had beat the Jags twice. It is hard, as we know, to beat a team 3 times in a row. It was in Jacksonville. The only 2 losses on that season for the Jags were the Titans, and they played good defense. They had a punt return from Derek Mason. Eddie George and Steve McNair played very, very well. That was probably the best Titans win because it took them to the Super Bowl. We all know what happened in the Super Bowl. So thank you for talking me through off the ledge of the Tom Brady recency because I don't know what he is going to do with the Bucs. My final answer is the 1999 AFC Championship game down in Duval County, Titans over the Jags.
So Anthony says you're overthinking this if you say anything besides the Music City Miracle. And then G-Man on the Base says the Music City Miracle catapulted this team and put us on the map nationally at the time after being 8-8 seemingly forever. You see where
we have opinions on this show.
Kyle says Music City Miracle. Anthony again saying no debate. Look, I definitely think, and the Music City Miracle was maybe one of the ugliest games the Titans have played in the playoffs. It was gross. It was cold. There was no offense, and it wasn't like there was solid, good defense. It wasn't great defense where it was a great game. It was an ugly game, and they were able to pull off a historic moment in NFL history. So there's no doubt that the Music City Miracle is on this list. I currently have 5 on my list that I was considering. Music City Miracle is on it. The Jags AFC title game is on it. The New England game from this past year is on it. And I also put the Kansas City.
They don't have more than 5. Like, how many do they have all together? Like,
well, a lot, actually, if you think about it, because they've beaten the Steelers at home. Joe Nedney faking the roughing the kicker to get the extra attempt there. Gary Anderson's win in Baltimore was a big one. But I think one that deserves more recognition because it broke a decade-long streak, actually like a 14-year-long streak, is the comeback win in Kansas City with Marcus Mariota and Derrick Henry pulling off the stunts and able to win the first playoff game since 2004. So I think that one deserves a lot of recognition. So the best overall, though, I know I talked you out of it. I talked you out of it for a reason because I was going to go with it. It's the New England Patriots win over Tom Brady because Logan Ryan with a pick 6 to ice the game.
Dirty.
That's it. I talked you out of it for a reason so I could take it because you also have the storyline of Mike Vrabel as the head coach. They came and practiced against each other in training camp where Tom Brady gave Vrabel a tiny trophy for winning the year before in the regular season. And so you end Tom Brady and the Patriots. That's the best win.
Well, another really good win, Indianapolis Colts were 13-3 that year. Peyton Manning, unbelievable season, and they went to the RCA Dome in Indy, and that runaway run by Eddie George put them and catapulted them to Jacksonville. That was another good game. So, look, I think we're aligned on that. Those are my 2. Those are my 2. Here's a quick pop quiz just because I looked up the answer.
Okay.
This is to everybody, too, and everybody can answer. How many playoff games have the Tennessee Titans, played in since 1999? Give me the number. Played in.
I'm going to say because 6 for the last 2 years in 99, then 5, so there's 8. Then you've got another AFC title game, so that's 10. Then 11. I'm going to go with 13.
13 is your answer. Anybody else? Juan says 7. Titans say 7. Rob says 9. Donald says 15. Kyle says 17. Marquise not even close with 4. We're talking all time since 1999. Playoff games.
Wins and losses.
Yeah. John says 12.
Ray Pierce says 12.
Nobody has gotten the correct answer.
So it's probably like 14.
Nobody has gotten the correct answer. Ray says 12 on IG. That is incorrect.
Oh, man.
The correct answer
is what? What's the correct answer?
8 and 8.
16? Damn it. I was 3 off. That's tough.
But I was trying to think of like how many they actually played. Yeah, 16 games. They're 8-8 in their Titans career.
So we had 8 wins to choose from. Every playoff game is great. I named 5 of them, and then we named the other 3, right?
That's why I said 8. I was like, what are we? You named 5. I was like, hell, only like 3 more. What do you think? That's why, like, you really just put all of them out there. Your top 5, you left off 3. Which ones did you leave off?
Joe Nedney kick, the Colts game, and the because then I mentioned the Gary Anderson win.
Yeah, and then the Ravens playoff wild card game in 2003.
That's the Gary Anderson game. Because then they went to New England and Drew Bennett dropped the pass and they lost the game in New England the week after that.
That's good memory lane.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's flip it. let's do the other. What's the worst Titans loss in playoff history? What's the worst Titans loss in playoff history? But first, Zach, tell people about Calvin and Suttle and how you can win with them.
Well, yeah, I think that question is going to be answered pretty easily. But you can win with Calvin and Suttle very easily as well. They have all of your hardwood floors that you need. CalvinandSuttle.com. Give them a call, 615-448-6414. That's 615-448-6414. Or online at CalvinandSuttle.com. You call them up. You say, look, we need new hardwood floors. My wife's been talking about, look, well, our hardwood floors, they're scuffed. I want to replace the carpet. Calvin and Suttle can hook you up. You call them. They come into your house. They use the CDC precautions. And they can order the material within 1 to 2 weeks. They can install it within that 1 to 2 weeks. So simple, so trusted here in Middle Tennessee. That's why they're a partner here of A to Z Sports. If you need hardwood floors or know somebody that needs new hardwood floors, CalvinandSuttle.com.
All right, A to Z Sports. We're asking the question, what's the worst loss in Titans playoff history? I think if Zach loses in the playoffs today against the Jets, that'll be up there. So don't screw it up, because if you lose this game, then the 1999 Super Bowl really never happened, if you think about it. So don't lose this game.
I'm trying to change history, and I'm not trying to change history that way.
The pressure is on. Donald says, do not choke, Zach. Don't choke.
The season finale against Pittsburgh yesterday was the easiest game I've ever played. I played free. I got up 21-0, ended up winning by 10.
You got up 21-0, then you were down 22-21.
But that happens.
Yeah.
I am already starting to feel pressure, and the game's not until 1 o'clock.
Right, yeah. So Ray asked, most painful or worst performance? So Ray on IG Live, you can take it any way you want. We're asking the question, what's the worst playoff loss in Titans history? Canadian Titans fan says 1 yard short in the Super Bowl. Stacy going with the Super Bowl. Corey says the Chiefs last year because we're so close, and the Rams Super Bowl is obvious. Jerome says Patriots State ramming and up the woo has to be the worst. Let's see. Zach Goodman says the Ravens game back in after the 2008 season, Kerry Collins at quarterback, and the ref blew the delay of game. That was bad too. Bobby bringing up the Ravens. They took out CJ2K with that ankle twist and led to the Algie Crumpler fumble. Donald bringing up one. The AFC Championship game versus Oakland. He was 8, so he didn't watch football when the Titans lost the Super Bowl. Interesting. So
yeah,
Zach,
I did think about that one.
So there was, I think we can eliminate some. Like losing to the Patriots in New England a couple of years ago, that thing was a blowout, and you didn't expect to beat the Chiefs first, so you kind of, that was a gift. Ooh, BMO brings up one. That's the game I forgot when I was counting, is the 07 loss to the Chargers with Vince Young. I forgot about that playoff appearance altogether. But
they shouldn't have won that game anyway. But
right. So for me, the 2 Ravens losses look and feel the worst because they dominated that 2000 playoff game against the Ravens when the Titans were the number 1 overall seed, and everybody who played on both the 99 team and the 2000 team said the 2000 team was better, and they dominated the box score. They had way more first downs, way more yards, but turnovers and a block kick return for a touchdown and a pick 6 is what broke a 10-10 tie, and the Titans lost by 2 touchdowns. I think that one, and then the 08 loss to the Ravens, because once again, 13-3, number 1 seed against the Ravens. You've got smash and dash, Chris Johnson, Lindell White combo with a great defense, and you started 10-0. Those 2 losses rank so much higher above all the others. And I really think, like the Super Bowl 1 yard short, because it's the Super Bowl, I don't think that loss would hurt as much. Because, it was a great game.
Talk to Eddie George about that, big dog.
No, I get that. It sucks. But, you were there. You were there. It was a close game, and it was an instant classic. So you feel like you had a chance. With the 2 Ravens losses, Titans fans feel like they were robbed of opportunities to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so the Super Bowl is number 1 because it's the Super Bowl. It has to do with that, because that's what you try. your favorite team has never won a Super Bowl, right?
Correct. But I think Super Bowl, like, it's all bets are off. Like, it's the one game. It comes down to one thing. So,
and that's where it hurts the most because you don't know when you're going to get back. You may never get back. It may take 20 years to get back. The Titans still haven't gotten back.
And Sean said because the Ravens have robbed them twice.
Yeah, but that's the worst right now because they are a part of the playoffs. The Super Bowl is a part of the playoffs. That is the ultimate worst. Now, they ran into the buzzsaw of the greatest show on turf, but they went and did battle. They were toe for toe, right?
Yeah.
So it was a good matchup. They were a very good team. They were riding the hot wave of the last several games that they had played. And they were a good I'm going through that season, so I've seen all the highlights. I'm very knowledgeable of 1999 Tennessee Titans.
It's very fresh on your mind.
So I know a lot about them. That is the singular worst loss because of it being the Super Bowl. Second, and I think you brought it up, was the team that lost to the Ravens with Steve McNair and Eddie George versus Ray Lewis, because that was the year that they could have easily, I think, amended that loss of the St. Louis Rams.
Yeah.
And they didn't get a chance to because Ray stole the rock. So that's the Philadelphia Coliseum, red end zones, everybody's amped. This is your redemption chance to amend that Super Bowl loss. That's the second one. The first one's the Super Bowl. When you go worst losses, you have to tier them by what is trying to be accomplished. That's how you have to tier them. That's why, in my opinion, the best win was the best win that they've ever done, which was the Jags.
The only time they've
won
got
a game beyond that.
Right. So you're staying consistent on that. Donald says he will never forget Algie Crumpler fumbling at the one. Never forget it. Titans for Life says the Super Bowl loss hurts the more the Titans don't come close to getting back to the Super Bowl. Sean says one Super Bowl, 2A and 2B are both of the Ravens playoff losses there. Bobby says in his head, he always separates the Super Bowl from the playoffs, which is kind of where I kind of fall on that.
But I'm trying to reel you back in.
No, I understand. I completely understand your thinking there, but like for me, like
a part of the term.
I get it. But the ride, like the Titans were robbed of the ride to the Super Bowl because of the Baltimore Ravens twice. And you felt like the Ravens did you dirty both times. You know, like the Ravens stole those two games from your home field when you were the best team in football. And the Super Bowl, I feel like the Titans were just, I mean, they weren't just happy to be there, but they were, because they were a wild card team. They didn't win the division. And they
were a 13. Oh, come on. They were a 13-3 wild card team. That's what you got to know your facts.
I know the fact. I understand that, but they were a wild card team. They didn't win their division because of the Jags and being 14-2.
You don't see that often. The best team. You know who's the best team in the NFL this year?
I guess it was either the Ravens were. The Ravens and Niners.
They were 14-2, right? Everybody else, they didn't have that great a record, right? There was a drop off. That season, that 1999 season, there were so many good records, very good football teams. That wild card team, 13-3. I would love to ask, when was the last time a 13-3 wild card team there was one?
Well, it's hard because there was only 3 divisions at that point, so it doesn't exactly count out to current. Well, the Vikings were like the Vikings are who was it? The Vikings this year and the Seahawks this year were both like 11-win wild card teams with 4 divisions.
13-3 though is a different story. That's what I'm saying is that the Tennessee Titans were an outstanding team that year.
Sure. No doubt. A to Z Sports. Let's get to our inter-show topic. Our guy G-Man has set the over-under. We're going to discuss the screen time report for both myself and Zach, and it's probably going to be pretty embarrassing. The over-under that G-Man set, Zach, is 4 hours per day. So we're asking you guys, over or under? Do you think Zach and I go over or under 4 hours per day on our phone? G-Man on base set that. So first, let me tell you about Renters Warehouse, the professional landlord in the Nashville area. Renterswarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for, because there are several ways that you can use Renters Warehouse. You can go to the website, find out how much your home can rent for. When you move, you don't sell your house. You just hang on to it, build equity, get that mailbox money. Use it if you own Airbnb or rental property as well. Don't do the work yourself. Let the pros do it. Renterswarehouse.com.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by Tennessee Tickets, but more importantly, we got Blitz 2000, the playoffs. We talked a lot of playoffs today. Titans and Jets in Adelphia Coliseum. We will probably, if I beat Vinny and the Jets, probably play Broncos in Denver, which is going to be a tough one. But don't forget to watch us, 1 o'clock playoff game. I'm excited. We'll be promoting that all the way up into that point. Also, I got to say, I am scared to death because my screen time is not 4 hours. I will tell you that. This is tough for me. I don't know whether the reasons are excuses, right? I think that they're going to be excuses. I think there are some reasons of what my screen time actually is, but I think that I'm going to blow the average person out of the water. I don't know what you are either.
Well, so G-Man sent me DMs about all the research that he did about this, because I tasked him with the job of setting the over-under. He went and read articles about how COVID has impacted the country's screen time and came back with that. But and as I told him in our message, that COVID has not had any impact on my screen time, because my screen time was high. And really the one thing that's had the bigger impact on my screen time has been the fallout after the murder of George Floyd. That has had my screen time go up by about 15% the last 2 weeks. So not COVID, but everything else that's going on in our world. So over under 4 hours. Everybody's saying over. I don't think I've seen an under guess for us at all. So Zach, do you want me to go first?
Yes, I would, because I think I'm going to beat you.
All right. So may
not, though. I wish I'm pleasantly surprised. I am, and you know what? I will say this. Rob, you're out of timeout, and I'm glad you are. You can tell Zach is already embarrassed. I am. And I put a picture of myself of how I truly feel about my screen time next to all of my stats. But I want to hear yours.
So here's my stat. Last week, and I was off one day last week. Mind you, I was off one day. My screen time was 5 hours and 27 minutes a day. And Wednesday, I didn't even work. On Wednesday. 5 hours and 27 minutes a day. There's the stats. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook are my top 4 apps. Then you see the average pickup. I picked up my phone on average 114 times a day, and I averaged 170 notifications per day. And you can see Facebook doesn't even show up on my top notification apps because I've got notifications off on that. So my average last week, which was down 8% from the week before, was 5 hours and 27 minutes for the day.
Well, I have you beat.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Now here I have to talk about myself a little bit, about my screen time and what I do for this company and why it is higher. It was going to be, you and I in general is going to be higher than the average Joe, right?
No doubt.
We own a digital media company, our phones. So I make all of the graphics for our show. These graphics, that takes some time. I also make graphics for the Blitz, and I've done all of that. Mm-hmm. So that goes into it. I also listen to podcasts now. And I didn't used to, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, as I found out yesterday, as far as I go in between music and long-form podcasts. I listen to a 3-hour podcast 3 days a week. Or no, probably a 2-hour podcast 3 days a week.
Does that include your screen time, though? Because I listen to podcasts as well. And if you look at mine, my Spotify app doesn't show up here. So
it does in the second row.
Oh, yeah, it sure does. Well, that's pickups. But the screen time itself is not that big when it comes to the Spotify app.
Here's the other thing. So we've just started IG Live. and I have to manually do this every day. Just so I have to join the IG Live on my phone during the show. So I at least have 1 hour a day, right? Because it's on.
Well, I do too.
And, right. But I have to turn my display to never turn off. And sometimes I forget to turn that back to 30 seconds. So, like, because I have to wait. I don't want to sit there and, like, swipe to join the IG. So sometimes I get in trouble. I also have some other personal problems that I watch Twitch a lot because of Coach Doug's.
But did you see my Coach Doug's hours last week were 3.5 hours last week?
I have 4 on you on that. Okay. So unfortunately, I'm going to beat you, and this is not something I'm proud of. And this picture, sorry, IG, you can't see this, but this picture on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope justify how I feel.
Oh my gosh.
So my screen time is 8 hours and 19 minutes, okay? But Spotify, as I learned, takes up 26 hours. I don't know how.
Why does it? Because I listen to a lot of things on Spotify too, but I think your screen time and your Spotify are messed up because
it has to be.
Because I probably listen to 12 hours of podcasts a week, maybe. And that's all on Spotify
too. I listen to music in my car. I listen to music.
That's what it is.
If I'm doing something else, I'm listening to music.
Because when I'm listening to my and see IG Live, when I'm listening to my Spotify, my screen is closed. But your screen, probably because you're in your car and it's music, your screen's probably open.
Right. Also, I have 4 hours of Twitch. I have 3 hours of Over, which is the app I use to make the graphics. I also have 3 hours of TikTok that I completely waste my time on. Not proud of that. That one really hurt. The TikTok 3 hours really hurt me.
And then the Over, that, I'm surprised that's not higher, to be honest.
Messages. I received 529 messages. That was a big portion of last week's average of pickups. So I'm popular. Maybe that I give you that. Is that my saving grace of that? But overall, I dominate the streets in screen time, and it's not something that I'm proud of. I do go fish, and I go outside. Like, I'm kind of more outdoorsy than I've ever been, but my screen time is high because maybe that's the work that I'm putting in. That's where you could justify. I'm really putting in some work for this company, so everybody else should take notice and appreciate that.
So the previous week, because I was off last Wednesday and didn't really do anything, so I was off my phone. The 2 weeks ago, I was over 6 hours a day. And then I am terrified to know what my computer screen time would be, because that would be terrifying, because I'm usually always on my computer, and when I'm not on my computer, I'm on my phone, or both. So look, we had to do the exercise. Zach, you doubled G-Man's under set. So we both went over, and that's not a surprise to me, but you got me by about almost 3 hours. So congrats.
Yeah, well, this is not the championship that I want. I'm trying to get Blitz championship. That's truly the one that I wanted to attain. But this is the show. So that's what it is.
Yeah, Rob asked, do you guys talk other than this show the rest of the day? Like us? Like communicate nonstop. Now, do I speak? Rarely, because I'm usually by myself unless I'm talking to my dogs. That's just kind of how it goes. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
If I didn't listen to Spotify, I think I'm under 5.
Yeah, your Spotify's messing you up. Your Spotify is definitely messing you up. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow for A to Z Sports on a Wednesday. Got throwing shade that we got to get ready for. Also going to have a good discussion regarding SEC football coaches. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.
Adios.